Hey guys, it's meteorologist Brian Fitzgerald, and just wanted to check in and do my part to help out as everyone's home from school and getting a lot of messages and seeing a lot on social media about folks trying to figure out different activities to do with their kids. So I figured I'd post a video here with some information about blizzards and some cool activities and science investigations, what we call science inquiry, to get the kids thinking about these type of things and thinking a little bit about science. So this is a video you could show with them. All you would really need with you is a pen and paper, or maybe some crayons and paper. And if you happen to have it at home, I'm going to show you what I used is some whiteboards. And I started at the Home Depot with that a few days ago, and I bought big 4x8 pieces of whiteboard. They're cheap, they're like 11 or 12 bucks, and I was able to cut that into 6 pieces, the 4x8. And so those ended up being 24 by 32 inch pieces of whiteboard, and I drilled a little hole on there so they have a handle, and I'll show you that in a minute. And so what I do is I give the kids a whiteboard and I let them do a little bit of an investigation on their own. I asked them what they know about blizzards. I asked them to write down what they know about it, draw what they know about it, put down everything they know about it, and then I go over a little bit of the lesson with them and figure out what they knew about it, what they didn't, and hopefully they come out of it learning something new. Here are the pieces of whiteboard that I cut up and purchased from Home Depot. You can see this one I've drawn some information with a map of the United States and some information about different types of blizzards and nor'easters that could impact us here in the Northeast and much of the eastern seaboard. Ronan's been my helper here, right, Ronan? What kind of marker is that you have?
A dry erase marker.
It's a dry erase marker, so you can't use normal markers on these. Why?
Because it can't come off.
It doesn't come off, so it's important that using the whiteboard you have a dry erase marker, and these are some of the extras that I have, and Ronan has been putting down information on his that he knows about blizzards and helping out with that, haven't you, Ronan? That's a little blizzard.
Yeah.
And when there's blizzards outside, is it cold out or is it warm out?
That's the weirdest blizzard yet.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where do blizzards happen?
In tornadoes.
Not in tornadoes. What season is it right now?
Winter.
It's winter, that's right. Do blizzards happen in winter or do they happen in summer?
They happen in winter.
Why is that?
Because there's lots of snow.
Yeah, because the air is what?
Snow.
Is the air warm or cold in winter?
Cold.
And for it to snow outside, does it need to be warm or cold?
Cold.
Cold. And does it need to be sunny outside or does there need to be clouds?
Don't need to be clouds.
Yeah. And what do you see around you when there's big snowstorm happening?
Snow.
Yeah, and what do we do here at home?
We draw big blizzards.
Yeah. And what do we do when there's a blizzard outside? Do we go out and shovel the snow?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do they do on the roadways?
Shovel the snow.
Who does?
The plow.
Oh, the plows come when there's blizzards. All right, guys, so here's the information about blizzards and nor'easters that come up the eastern seaboard. You can see there the map of the United States, and I've labeled 2 different types of storms. One called a Miller A that starts down near Florida. Kieran, do you see where that one is?
Yeah.
Where is it? Yep. And the other one's called Miller B that starts in the middle of the country. Do you see that one?
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. And what areas do you see else on the board here?
Arrows like Miller A could go up to there.
Yep.
And hit New York City.
Yep.
And then maybe go to Canada.
And what about Miller B?
Miller B goes down.
Well, where does Miller B start? You showed me it started in the middle of the country. He starts here, right?
Yeah, and then it hits after.
Yeah, you know where this is? This is North Carolina. And then where does Miller B go from there?
Miller B goes up,
Yep.
hits the United States, and then goes to Canada.
So here's the interesting part. So Miller A starts down there in the Gulf of Mexico near Florida. Miller B starts in the middle of the country, but both of them end up
There.
in the same place, right? And what do you need for those to produce snow? What do you need to happen?
You need erosion.
Not erosion, but you're thinking scientifically, so I like that. You need cold air coming down from Canada, right? There's Canada. And then you need moisture from the Atlantic Ocean. All of those filter together, because of course, what season is it right now?
Winter.
It's winter season. Do you know when spring begins?
Yeah, next week on the 20th.
Yeah, it begins this coming Thursday at 11:50 p.m. It's called our vernal equinox. Any idea why that is?
Because it switches seasons right at that time.
It switches seasons, and it's when the sun crosses over the equator. So we're starting to see our warmer weather coming in our direction once we hit our vernal equinox, which starts at 11:50 p.m. on this coming Thursday. So these are two different types of storms I just wanted to show you guys and give the kids some information that they might not have known before. And we label them Miller A, Miller B. So Miller A is a center of low pressure, a storm that would start down on the Gulf of Mexico and track up the eastern seaboard. It draws in Atlantic moisture, cold air from Canada, and can, at times, if it positions itself right at what we call the benchmark off the eastern seaboard, that's the correct point of latitude and longitude, that would draw in enough cold air but not come too close to the coastline. That would bring warm air and rain. And so those storm systems hit just the right spot to bring snow to parts of the East Coast. Miller Bs do the same thing, and many of these types of storms can cause blizzard conditions. Kiernan or Ronan, anyone know what the difference is between a snowstorm and a blizzard? What's the big difference?
A blizzard's better than a snowstorm because it has more destruction.
And why? What is different about a blizzard and a snowstorm? Do you know, Ronan?
Because it's more better. It has, like, in a blizzard, like, it does more damage to land and it's harder to see, so it's wind chill.
Right, and so, well, you're onto it now because you said wind chill. So blizzards have stronger winds than normal snowstorms. And because of those strong winds, what do you think it does with the snow in the air?
It makes it hard to see.
Yeah, it makes it hard to see. It reduces what we call visibility. So that's a vocabulary word for blizzards. Visibility. So when the visibility is good outside, Kiernan, can you see far away or is it hard to see?
You can see far away.
You could see far away in good visibility. So during a blizzard, would you have good visibility or bad visibility?
Bad visibility.
And why?
Because it's a blizzard and like lots of snow's flying around, and ice, so it's hard to see.
And so that's the big difference, Ronan, between a blizzard and a snowstorm, is that the wind is blowing the snow around in a blizzard, when in a snowstorm it may not be doing that. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that could cause a lot of dangerous things. Kiernan pointed out one of them before, which is called the wind chill. And the wind chill can be a major factor because, well, when our bodies feel the wind up against us, did you know that our bodies actually create a little membrane around us of heat? And so when the wind blows, it actually blows that little membrane of heat away from our body, and that's why we get so cold.
It's like frostbite, like it takes the air away from you. That wind chill could be very bad. It could,
No, you're right. What wind chill does is it takes the heat away from your body, making it really difficult for your body to stay warm. And so even though the temperature, let's say, for example, might be 32 degrees outside, if you have a strong wind, it could feel like it's in the teens. So we could have some really cold stuff. Ronan, do you like cold weather or warm weather?
Warm weather.
Kiernan?
Warm.
Warm weather? And are you guys happy to be learning about science while you're not at school?
Yes.
Yeah, and if kids are out there watching your science lesson right now, what do you want to tell them about blizzards?
Like, it'd be very bad, and like it could cause damage to land. It could like break windows if it's very hard ice.
Well, I do appreciate you guys taking the time to hang out with us over the last 10 minutes or so as we learned a little bit about two different types of blizzards or nor'easters that could impact us here on the East Coast. Of course, if you have any questions, you can leave them here. We're going to be hanging at home doing some different experiments and different things over the coming weeks as we get through this process we've been dealing with the schools and around the country, of course, because of the coronavirus. So if you have questions related to science or science-related topics you want to hear about, post them here and maybe we will get to another lesson coming up. In fact, one of the ones I was thinking about is groundwater. I get a lot of questions from my kids. My home has a well about how the water gets out of the ground and eventually makes it into our cups. So maybe that will be one coming up in the very near future. Thank you, and we'll talk soon.